Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the episode of love. I don't know if it's going to be the episode of love, but I just want you to feel a bit of love. Like we did last episode. Do you remember? Because you listened to it. I want you to bring your feet to the mat. To the mat? Are you on a mat? I don't know. That would be fun. To the ground. Ugh, just give yourself a little shuffle. Get your spine long. Take a big breath in. Sigh it out. Ugh. How are you doing? How are you actually feeling? I'm feeling alright. I'm feeling good actually. I'm recording this straight after the recording of last week's episode because you know how organised I am. Yeah, baby. Well, also because I've got a busy week next week, I'm probably gonna not get around to recording an episode. So I'm being organised. But I'm feeling alright. I've had a good meal. I've had a good old cacao oat milk latte, baby. Oh my god, I'm so middle class. It's probably why I can't afford a house. Oh my god, sorry, that was a terrible joke. And yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty upbeat. It's nice. And I wanted to share with you a story. I do want to share this. It's quite, I don't know, it makes me a little bit nervous. But it's about my friend's wedding. Shout out Ella. Hey Ella. And Alex, if you ever listen to this. Probably not. But anyway, basically, let's start from the beginning, right? Let's start from the beginning. So I left an 8-year relationship at the end of 2021. And that was as hard as you can imagine, challenging. And pretty soon after that, I got an invite to this wedding. Oh man, and at the time of that invite, I was dating somebody else who wasn't right for me in any way, shape, or form. And so, out of fear of going to this wedding alone, I was just hoping that this random guy I was dating, would go with me. And I was hoping beyond hope, because I was really scared to go to this wedding on my own. So that was the situation, right? I met Ella for lunch one day. And she said to me, hey, Chloe, we're actually going to have yoga at this wedding. So it's on a private island. Hello, eyes on stalks. Yes, please. A private island in Stockholm, or outside Stockholm. And we're hoping to have yoga, but the teacher's not very great, or they're being a bit shady about whether the teacher's going to have availability. And I was like, hey. As is my way, I said, Ella, babe, why don't I teach your class for you? You're giving me an opportunity to travel, and I'd be so happy, so you know, how lovely is that? She's one of my oldest friends, to be able to show up and give a little bit of what I'm good at and make her wedding a little special because of it. So there we are. Suddenly I'm going to this wedding, right, which is a multiple day thing in Sweden, another country I've never been to before. Haven't flown, you know, COVID and all that. Haven't flown for years and years. I'm single and desperately clinging on to this horrible toxic relationship that I was in at the time with this guy post my long-term. Right, okay. I feel like you're with me. And I'm teaching a yoga class. Like, this is a big fucking deal. And I was starting to freak out about it. I was in a really bad headspace. And slowly, maybe not even that slowly, who knows, I don't know, felt like it at the time, but this relationship I was in was starting to kind of get to its weird, horrible, bitter end. And I was starting to think, oh my God, I'm going to have to go to this wedding on my own. And yeah, you might be listening to me thinking, what? That's not a big deal. It just really was for me at the time, right? I had this, and maybe you feel this, maybe you know people who have this. I still have it to this day, I think, this kind of post-COVID social anxiety and getting outside anxiety, all of the anxieties. So this felt like a really scary big thing. Anyway, so here we are, right? This guy isn't coming with me, and I thank everything under the sun that he didn't come with me. And I went to Sweden on my own. It was such a big thing. The reason I'm telling you this is because what happened in Sweden, for me as a yoga teacher and as a participant of life, gave me so much joy and one of the biggest epiphanies I've had in recent years. Right? And I suppose if we distill it, what the hell is this podcast about? Listen, I don't fucking know. I don't know why I'm here, why you're listening to me. I don't bloody know. But here we are anyway. Isn't that nice? We're here anyway, so we might as well dive into what's nice and lovely about the world. The point of this podcast is, I don't know, to talk about joy, because that is my mission with the Yoga Revolution. That's my mission with everything I do, right? To have a more joyful existence, to live on this planet a little lighter, a little kinder, with a little more merriment in our steps, right? And that's why I'm telling you this bloody story, alright? So just sit back and relax, okay? So, get to Sweden, get to the airport, I meet the groom. Never met him in my life, never met Alex. He met me at the airport. Quite a confusing airport, or at least it was for me at the time. And then he had to drop people off and la la la, so I was waiting around. No, I had to get a bus. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I get a bus into Stockholm, and I meet Alex. He picks me up and he drives me to this little apartment in Stockholm I was staying at. And I remember being so tired. It was such a long journey. It doesn't sound long, does it? Just UK to Sweden. It's not a long journey, but it was long. I had to go, I think I did London. Anyway, who cares? So I'm in Stockholm, right? I order for the first time in my life, and this is pathetic too. I realise that, but I order Uber Eats and it was fucking brilliant. I had some sort of wrap thing. And then I sit down for possibly 2 hours and I craft the playlist for Ella's yoga class. So it had to be pertinent to our friendship. It had to be about wedding-y things. So Whitney Houston was on there. You know it. There was even some Blink-182 on there. It fit. Trust me when I tell you, it wasn't just all the small things. It was beautiful. I have this playlist. I still have it on my Spotify, and it's beautiful. Anyway, following day, right? I meet a load of strangers at a bus. I did hard things. I met strangers at a bus in a random city I'd never been to in my life. I did hard things. I get on this coach and we go to a port, right? You would think we're going to an island. There's boats involved. So we get to this little dockside situation and we cram on this little boat. And we start, and this, by the way, for anyone who's Swedish, is anyone Swedish listening to this? Please send me an email, because that would be wonderful. So this is normal for Swedish people, I think, but it's not for me. We were on this boat, beautiful sunny day, clear water, and there's just these little islands. It was insane. Please go if you've never been. It's such a beautiful place. Just these little islands that we're kind of cruising through. Beautiful sailing boats. Oh my God, it was amazing. They're all like wooded islands, you know? So anyway, we pull up to this wooded island about half an hour later. And on the dock are some of Ella's family that I haven't seen since I was about 16, right? I'm 32 at this point. And I see them and they've grown up and there's her mum and oh my God. And we pull up to this little jetty, throw our bags on, and there's a wedding party introducing everything. It was so lovely. But can I just picture this scene for a second? So we're on an island. The sea is crystal clear blue. The sky is crystal clear blue. And this island is wooded. And all you can see from the jetty is like this little path that disappears into the trees. It was like a fairy tale. So I follow whoever I'm following through the trees with my bag, and I get to this little red cabin in the woods that I'm staying at with a bunch of people that I've never met before. I did hard things. Anyway, so cutest little room. I met people who were super friendly to me and super welcoming. I find my friend Ella. She shows me around some of the other buildings. We go down to the beach. I say hi to other people. And then I said to Ella, I'm going to go for a wander. So wander I do. And I find... this is about joy, okay? This is the most joyful thing ever. I find this little kind of secluded beach, the other side of the island. And on this secluded beach were some kayaks. And I was like, oh my god, I bet there's a paddleboard around here somewhere. Turn around, 3 paddleboards just sat there. And then a guy wanders up and I asked him if I could borrow a paddleboard. He said, yeah, the wedding party has rented all of this stuff for the weekend as part of the wedding, right? So I'm like, fuck me, this is the best thing ever. Beautiful day, beautiful location. I grab a paddleboard. I'm just in like yoga pants, right? And I paddle around to the beach where my friend Ella and all her family are just like splashing about. It was so much fun, okay? Anyway, this is setting the scene for the yoga class. So there was a yoga studio. It was messy, the previous teacher, come on teachers, she'd left it, or he had left it all messy, mats and bolsters and shit everywhere. So I spent a while that afternoon cleaning it up because my class was the following morning. I figured out how to work the hi-fi, the music system. And this studio had big glass doors overlooking the ocean, right? It was this big wooden room, glass doors overlooking the sea. Now, bearing in mind, I hadn't taught a yoga class in person, like face to face, since March 2020. COVID hit. We went online the day after. That was a long old time ago, and I was nervous. And so the next morning I get up real early and I get in the studio, lay out all the mats, everything's ready, open the doors, the sea's glistening through these doors. Oh my god, it was like beautiful. And then people started to file in, and I was nervous that no one was going to show up. So the fact that people were coming in was really exciting. And slowly, I had like 25 people in this class. My friend Ella, front row. Her soon-to-be husband, front row. Her stepbrother, front row. Like, the people that had welcomed me to this crazy, bizarre situation were all in this front row, and their family and their friends were behind them, and it was just overwhelming and terrifying. I had to do a good job. So I start with my normal kind of like deep beat, I don't know, something kind of like droney to begin. And as is my way, that slowly builds up to, I don't know, what did I play? Like Teardrop by Massive Attack, Blink 182, that Whitney Houston, Your Love Is My Love, whatever the fucking hell that track is. Anyway, I soon got over my nerves, found my footing, realised that this is what I do for a living. Holy shit, I found my groove and it was amazing. And we had a circle at the end, so everyone gathered and we sat. We weren't looking at each other, but like feeling. That sounds weird. We were feeling each other. That sounds really fucking weird, doesn't it? But I mean that we were sat around with our eyes closed, noticing what it's like to sit next to people. Because I bet you've been to a studio or been to a class, as I certainly have, where you sit at the end and you're like, you are a single unit in space floating about. Please don't look at anybody in the room. Don't make eye contact. Don't acknowledge their presence. Right? Man, it's so depressing. Anyway, I don't finish my classes like that. So we're sat contemplating the thought of being within this kind of connected system of other people who've just been through the same class we have, right? And needless to say, it was fucking magical. Like, I know that it was magical for me. I still have the thank you card from Ella. I don't know if there was a dry eye in the room. It was really monumental for me. And then, you know, we have the wedding, which was brilliant. I was on my own. I've been to plenty of weddings and I kind of opted out of the dancing part because I don't really understand dancing. Like, what are we doing here? But I danced at this wedding and all the people that I was sharing this cabin with were like plying me with alcohol and taking care of me and just including me, and it just felt really cathartic and life affirming, and you know, my faith in humanity was completely and utterly restored. And I had one of the most memorable few days of my life. And then we get the boat home, and I remember being sat on the plane thinking, what the fuck has just happened? What has just happened? That was absolutely incredible. And thinking to myself, that yoga class was probably the best yoga class I've ever taught in my life. And I teach online, and I love to teach online. I practice with online yoga classes and online movement classes because, you know, and I have done for the best part of 20 years. Because I find it accessible and easy, and you can find incredible teachers. Like, if you go to a yoga class in your local town, there's a handful of teachers, or there's 20 teachers. I don't know how big your town is, I don't know. But there are thousands, millions of yoga teachers online. You can find one that's really great for you. So I practice online. My point being that I also peddle my wares online because I fucking know. I've sworn a lot in this podcast, haven't I? I hope that's alright. I'm not apologising for it. I love a good swear word. I know how beneficial it is to practice yoga at home whenever you have the time, and to meditate, and to have a course at your fingertips, and challenges, and to know that there's other people out there doing the same classes you are doing, and there's live classes, but it's at home. You can do it in your PJs, you can fart, it's all good, right? I know how wonderful that is, but there's a massive caveat to that. It isn't the same as going to an in-person yoga class, which is why, and I talked about this in the last episode, why I'm really excited about these in-person yoga classes, face-to-face yoga classes that I'm going to be providing for our members, because that is where absolute magic lives. I don't know if it's that moment where you recognise that you're not doing this alone, where you're sat literally thinking about, I'm sat with other human beings right now, we're all made of the same crazy, you know, whatever, of stardust and atoms and mad collection of things that is so impermanent and so absurdly coincidental. And isn't it amazing to be alive? And that is the kind of stuff that you really feel more when you're doing it in person. So yeah, I had that epiphany on the plane. I wrote notes and I taught a yoga class. That was actually a year ago. It was a year ago this week, I think. So I'm recording this on the 8th of August 2023. That was some similar time in 2022. And I came back and I taught a class at a local studio of mine. Thanks, Sophie, if you're listening. I taught that class in November, and it again was, I was nervous, but it was really cathartic and really life affirming, and yeah, unreal. Like, in person is unbelievable. So if you're on the fence, don't be on the fence. These in-person events, dates to be confirmed, they are the dog's proverbials, because it really is a different experience, and what you can learn and what you gain from the in-person events is going to feed into your online membership too. If you're not a member, you can also come, but I want you, if you haven't already, can you hear my clicks, my mouse clicks? That's not good, is it? People who do podcasts don't have like mouse clicks and typing. I'm just trying to find the right URL. Yeah, you need to pre-register for this event if you want to come. It's yogarevolution.co.uk/register-interest-in-person. I've really made it great. I'm going to put that link in the show notes. Because, yeah, you really need to pre-register because it's going to be very limited numbers. And it's got an ocean view. When it's finished, it's currently being built. Thank you, Harriet. Oh my god, Harriet. she's a good friend of mine. It's her wonderful hotel in Scarborough that we'll be running this thing at. So that is the story of my in-person delight and loveliness, and the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. And I had this more recent epiphany about really stepping it up a gear or two for the Yoga Revolution and making this as good as it can be. And part of it is this podcast, so thanks very much for tuning in. I want to know what epiphanies you're having or you've had, what amazing yoga classes you've been to, and you're coming, right? You're going to come to this session. I'm so pumped for it. There's going to be things. I'm thinking goodie bags. There's going to be stuff on the walls. I think Sweaty Betty's going to be there, which is pretty exciting. But I just want to finish by letting you know that your yoga classes, the in-person ones especially, should feel absolutely like that wedding did for me in Sweden. Completely life-affirming. They should restore your faith in humanity. They should make you feel more fucking alive. Because if you're just leaving your yoga class feeling a little bit better, I mean, that's great. But for me, it isn't enough. It really isn't enough. You need to be feeling majestical, you know? On that note, well, I don't know, frankly. I don't know. I might go listen to that playlist. I might even share it with you. No, I'm not gonna, because it was too good. But the playlist for this session in the autumn is going to be brilliant, and I'm hoping to do more of them for our members, and I'm really excited. Not only for the yoga class thing, but to connect with people in person, because there is a magic to it. So anyway, that's how you know when a yoga class is a good yoga class. And my good to be alive moment today, before I close this little podcast episode off, I don't know, a good to be alive moment is stop raining. Sometimes it's hard to think of these things, right? A good to be alive moment. It's good to be alive when you find something that reminds you how good it is to be alive. When you find something like that yoga class, that wedding in Sweden, thanks Ella, really was a monumental life moment for me. I could cry thinking about it. So don't take these things for granted. Say yes to these opportunities, even when you're scared, because that is when the magic happens. Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I hope you're feeling sparkly and inspired to live a more joyful life. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating. These things are invaluable to me, and share it with people who need it. This is about inspiring more people to be more connected and lead happier and more joyful lives. Join my inner circle for more inspiration. Learn more at the website theyogarevolution.co.uk and chloemarkham.co.uk. I'll see you in the next episode.